So doing in class P, do a save as, make sure you don't save in the Python directory, paste the contents of the Word doc into it. As you see, it's just a bunch of comments. This kind of thing that I've been doing over the past 3 or 4 classes. We're going to make lists and we're going to do stuff with it. And then we're going to make a text file that has some stuff in it, and we're going to do some stuff with it. That's kind of vague. Make a list called movies. How do we declare a list? Well, we give it a name, then we use equal sign, and what follows the equal sign when we're making a list?
Square brackets.
Yeah, it's got to be square brackets. If you use parentheses, it means something entirely different. If you use curly braces, it means something entirely different. And those are worth finding out what they do, but not right now. Inside the square braces, let's just put some movies. Hunger Games 12. Scarface. The Matrix. Whatever. Put your own movies in. Wrath of Kim Kardashian. I'm going to take out the spaces even though they make it easier to read just to get the whole thing on one line. I think I'll take the word "the" out just so that when it's sorted it'll look a little cooler. Alright, once we have our movies, if we're going to print the list, just all as one list, it's really easy. No loops required. We just print and give the variable name. Now this is usually not what we want to do to give output to a user because it's not formatted nicely. But for our sake, our purposes, we'll see that it, at least we declare the movie and we see the contents in it. So go ahead and run it at this point, because if it doesn't run this far, I like to save and run pretty much after every change. Ooh, movie is not defined, see? That's because it's actually print movies. We have to match that with that. So Lillian, we're doing in-class assignment P.
Okay.
And good luck understanding me. So what you need to do is in the Dropbox, there's a Word doc. Take the code out of that Word doc and paste it into a Python script, and then we're making changes to it.
Okay.
All right, now we're going to print the elements of the list with a for loop. We'll use a for loop anytime that you have a list of data or a range of data or a file full of data. This is a perfect opportunity. We have a list of data. The syntax for it, and don't type this, is for temporary variable in list variable. Meaning that this is the list, and this is the temporary variable which will contain a copy of each element of the list in turn. In this case, what is our list called? It's called movies. Do type that. What's our variable going to be called? I don't know. How about just MOV? So this code's from the in-class P assignment, for those who are just walking in. But that code is all comments, so we're just adding some stuff. And let's print out the movie. And let's run it again. All right, it printed them all out as a list, and you can see why I say the user might not want to see a list provided like that. But it's good for us just to eyeball it. And here's the list arranged sequentially. All right, now we want to add a movie to our list. To use the append function, don't type this, you do list variable.append and then you put your data in it. Well, in this case, what is our list variable called? Our list is called movies. So movies dot append, and then add another movie to it.
You have a small typo there.
Pardon me?
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I had that goofed up. The force slumbers. There we go. Well, I don't need to run it again because it's going to do the same thing because we haven't printed the movie list yet after we added something to it. That'd be a logical next thing to do, but it's not part of the comments, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm just going to copy that print movie statement and paste it after the append. There we go. And now the Four Slumbers is the last movie in the list. So now we're going to call sort on the list. That's pretty easy. You just give, don't type this part, list variable dot sort, like that. And I know I keep misspelling list variable. What's our list variable? It's movies. So call movies dot sort with the round parentheses. And then let's print out the movies again now that they're sorted. But let's actually put a word in front of it so that we know, you know. We haven't been describing what we're printing, but we may as well. There we go. There's our sorted movies. Hunger Games, Matrix, Scarface, The Four Slumbers, and Wrath of Kim. Almost in the same order, but not quite. Okay. Sometimes unconsciously, when you're adding data to a list, you put it in alphabetical order and then you call sort and it doesn't make any difference. At least I've done that. Alrighty. I am going to stop there because y'all can do these next things all the way from here to here, except where it says call reverse on the list. I didn't show you how to do that, so let's do that up here. Reverse the list and print it again. Okay, movies dot reverse, then print reverse comma movies. All right, if you look, the rest of this is about integers. Make a list of integers and then do all the same kind of stuff with it. The only thing different is that since it's a list of numbers, we can do additional things like calculate sums and averages. So I'll help you with the first one, but then I want you to do everything but the last two. And if you know how to do the last two as well, that's also totally cool. What are we going to call our list? I don't know. How about just N? We'll make it easy. Nah, nums. Same syntax. Nums is equal to, and then use the square braces. Give it some numbers. And don't put them in order. Don't just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Otherwise the sort won't look like it does anything. All right, go to town on that one, all the way down to the one that says sum. And I'll wander around and help. Who would like a copy of what we already had? Okay. 3.
Well, no,
Oh, okay. I'll come help.
I just have a question.
Sure.
When you use like the sort documents, does it save it automatically?
Back into itself?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. And that's different. Very good question. But in Python and Java, strings are considered immutable. So when you call a function like whatever function is on a string, you have to store it in another string to get the results. These list functions actually rearrange the list itself.
Yep.
So you just call list.sort. You don't say A is equal to list.sort.
Very, very good.
Okay, man, I need to go look at something. Alright guys, if you refresh the Dropbox P, there's another document called List Part 2. Go ahead and open that while I wander around and make sure that everybody got the first part of this working with that list of integers. I know you can at least do the first part with saving the movies. You may not remember how to read in a file yet, but that's what the next part of this is going to do, is read in a file. But firstly, I forgot to do the sum statements. Well, I'm going to go ahead and type this stuff up here really quickly. Here I go. Print the list with a print statement. Print nums. Print the list with a for loop. For every n in nums, print n. Call sort on the list. n.sort. Print the list again. Print n. Call reverse on the list. n.reverse. Print it one more time. I think I'll use a for loop again. You don't have to. Now use the sum function to print the sum of the list. This is not one of those cases where you do something like n.sum or whatever. That's not how you do it. Instead, there's a sum function that is all by itself. It's not attached to a data type. And so you could just do something like this. S is equal to sum of all the numbers in the n list, and then print out sum equals S. Now we're going to print the average. Average is equal to sum of n divided by the length of n. And print that out. There. That's all of the code. So my mistake when I was writing up here earlier was I'd swapped halfway through from using the list variable to using a single letter name. I needed to call nums.sort, print nums, nums.reverse, and then the sum of n.
What's the,
Sum of nums, and then sum of nums and length of nums.
item of this, just saying nums equals scores, copy the scores, listen to what's called nums, and outputs really fast. So right above that line, yeah, if you change those to scores, all the way down to the word. Brian? All doing good over here?
Alrighty, for the next part, we're going to do two different things. So even if you didn't finish this one, I'd kind of like for you to switch gears and start working on the second one rather than keep working on this one. Because we'll pretty much end class after this one, and then we can stay after a few minutes and make sure that everybody gets them all working. So, yeah. When you're done with this one, if you've already got it done, upload it to the Dropbox. All right, I'm going to tuck the last little bit of the last assignment over here in the corner so it's still visible, but I really would like for y'all to start working on the second part and then go back later. So the second part. List part 2. It's got two things in it. One is going to be a file called movies.txt, and the other is going to be called moviereader.py. So using idle, make a new file, file new, do a save as, put it in the same directory as all your other stuff, call it movies, and change the type of it down here, save as type. Don't leave it as Python files. Click the Save As type and choose text file. And then make sure it says movies.txt. If you get that wrong, you just have to change it in your program. Apparently I already had a file like this. Okay. Then we have some movies to put in there. You can make your own, or you could just copy them out of this document. There we go. And make sure you save it. If you look up at the file name and it has an asterisk, it's not saved, and you'll run your program and you wonder why you don't get any output. So, saving it, there we go. That's a list of movies, but it's in a file rather than hard-coded in the program, and that's more useful. You know, if you were going to write software that was going to, print out your inventory of your store, you wouldn't want to put every item in your store, in your program itself. You'd want to save it in a file or database. Okay, this is really about done. Let's get rid of that. Now we're going to write a program called Movie Reader that reads those and sorts them and prints them. So file, new file. And again, this code is just comments. We have to fill it in ourselves, but that's okay. Open the movie file. I haven't saved it yet. I'm going to save it right now. Save as, call it moviereader.py. F is equal to movies.txt. Now we need an empty list. The empty list will hold our movies because we're going to read each line from the movie list and we're going to append it to this list. What are we going to call it? Movies is an obvious choice. Movies is equal to square braces with nothing between them. Now we need a for loop to read the movies into the list. For every line in F, for every line of data in the file, the first thing we want to do is we want to strip it of the spaces. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave that so that you'll see why we have to do that. Now let's append that line to our movies list. Movies.append that line. Now if you are typing at the same place I am, tell me how to sort that movies list. What do I do to get that list sorted? Same, we've done it twice before. Somebody tell me so I don't have to beg pathetically. Yeah, it's movies.sort. And then print them out all on one line. Print movies, and then print them with a for loop. For every line in our movies list, let's print that line. Now if we've dotted our I's and crossed our T's, it might work. Okay, it did work. Well, in one place it did. I'll wander around and help y'all now. But there's something I want you to notice is that when we printed it, it has these slash ns in the data, which looks really ugly. And y'all remember what a slash n is, you know. It's the same thing as that 0D, 0A at the end of every line in a text file. So we need to strip that. So we'll do line is equal to line dot strip. And right before we append it. So this is where we added that. Then when we run it again, the slash ns will not be in the data. Much better looking. Homework 9 is awfully similar to what we just did. So it might take you all of 5 minutes. But, you know, certainly don't have to do it here. Take it home and work on it. So the assignment is to create a file called names.txt, put a bunch of names in it, type 30 names, just make them up, and then write a program called nameReader that opens a file, creates an empty list called names, uses a for loop to put each line of data in the names list. Make sure you strip the names, close the file, and then print that file list. And then just like we've done here, you sort the names and you print them out, and then you reverse sort the names and then you print them out. And do so also with a for loop that prints out the names line by line. So you can see how similar to that is to what we've already done. So I don't feel any reason to work on that with y'all anymore. So although our instructions didn't add that, I will add it right here. Close the file before we sort the movies. So we go over here and we add f.close before sort the movies.
You want us to fix that and resubmit?
No, I mean, unless you just want a modified version, you know, for your own purposes, then you can, but it's optional.
Okay.
But I will re-upload this. No, that's the movies, not the names. Oh, I guess I didn't download namereader.doc. Okay, I did have close the file in name reader. Good. Okay. Be right there with you. So this is our finished movie reader file, script, and the name reader is going to be remarkably similar to that as your homework.